Bear down, Bears fans. The Chicago Bears emerge victorious in what must be a must-win game, going 2-2 in their first four games compared to last season, where they went 0-4. Now, if we just extrapolate from that and we assume that the Bears are going to continue to progress from what they did last season, then we could be looking now at a 9 or 10 win season. It is my opinion that that's not going to be good enough, that the Chicago Bears are going to have to pull out a couple of games that you wouldn't expect them to otherwise win, especially when, let's face it, they owe us two games at this point. Chicago Bears victorious. They beat the Los Angeles Rams 24-18 in a game that I said would end up 31-17. And I felt so close, and I thought that there was going to be one final touchdown. There was enough time left for that one final touchdown to get me so close to that. And I really wanted to see that little breakout, that little extra something from Caleb Williams towards the end of the game to kind of lock it in. Was really, really, really looking forward to it. Anyway, it didn't happen, but we did get 24 points. And look, when you can slow down a team that just beat a Super Bowl contender in the San Francisco 49ers, then you feel a little bit good, especially after you lose a game that you should have won against the Indianapolis Colts. You outperformed them in every phase of the game except the final score. And the same team, by the way, that went out and beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. So a lot of Justin Fields fans were looking for a bragging rights moment in this. Don't let anybody fool you. And if you saw if you saw some of yesterday, then you now know that Caleb Williams is a higher ranked quarterback in the NFL than Justin Fields. But let's kick it all off. If you like this type of content, make sure you hit the like button on the way in. And look, no disrespect to Justin Fields, but the numbers are the numbers. Swifties rejoice. DeAndre Swift is now look, he came alive. And I was picking Roshan Johnson as my, oh, wait, what? That's not, oh, my bad. That's Taylor Swift. That's not DeAndre Swift. Oops. Anyway, DeAndre Swift comes in with 16 carries, 93 yards, has one touchdown, and then 7 receptions for 72 yards, becoming what we've been waiting for a very long time. He finally came through with the kind of plays that we've been looking for this whole season. And that, by the way, we have not been getting. These are not, this is not what we've been looking for out of him so far. Suddenly, however, goes from averaging 1.8 yards per rush to 3 yards per rush, starting to look the part. Now, does that mean that it's, we'd like to say that we're back on track. We would like to say that that rushing game kind of stepped up a little bit, but ultimately, I don't know that it really did. The team only had 131 rushing yards. I would have liked to have seen against the worst rushing defense in the league. I would have liked to have seen somewhere closer to 170 to 190 rushing yards. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of Roshan Johnson getting involved in it, but Shane Waldron, to his credit, stuck with DeAndre Swift, worked on plays to get DeAndre Swift involved in the game plan, and he was successful in doing that. So shout out to Shane Waldron. For 1 week and 1 week only, he proved some of us doubters a bit wrong, but it didn't start off that way. There was a little bit of struggle in the first quarter, in the second quarter. And, I want to say that I felt like this team was going to end up scoreless going into halftime at one point, going through the first quarter, just not feeling it. The Bears still looking like they're out of sync. And by the way, it should be noted that the reason the Bears are out of sync at that point, to me, is very, very simple. Preparation and getting ready from the coaching standpoint, getting ready to win, getting prepared. And I don't think that the Bears are still doing that. Now, they did end up coming through and will take the victory, but there's still some things that we need to work on. But DeAndre Swift going off 16 carries, 93 yards, 1 touchdown, 7 receptions, 72 yards. Caleb Williams coming in 17 of 23, 157 yards, 1 touchdown. Again, I would have liked to see a little bit more in terms of yardage from Caleb Williams. it just was unfortunate that we did not get that. We did not get the closing big play. We didn't get the move that would have kind of thrown us over the hump, if you will, gotten us that 31-point number. I do think that that was important, by the way. I do think that the number, I do think that Caleb needed to have about another 100 yards passing, to be fair. And look, statistically, it doesn't really matter. What matters at the end of the day is wins and losses. And by the way, there are some statistics here on Caleb Williams that makes him a first in a lot of different categories. And we're starting to see a surge in what Caleb Williams can do. He's starting to get it, and we're starting to see it play out on the field. And we're going to talk about that in just a few moments. But in other news, Jaquan Brisker absolutely went off. Not only did he have a sack, not only did he have 2 tackles for loss, he had the game winning interception, and he had 12 tackles in this game, just absolutely dominating. Which, by the way, look, it's got to be said here. Jaquan Brisker is breaking out right now, and he is looking like he's made that upgrade from rookie to second-year player. So is Gervon Dexter, by the way, who had a tackle for loss and a sack in this game. Montez Sweat, a tackle for loss and a sack in this game. Jalen Johnson also had a tackle for loss, and so did Tremaine Edmonds. So the Bears really, really locked in. Really locked in. Quarterback hits, by the way. Gervon Dexter, 2. Jaquan Brisker, 1. Montez Sweat, 1. Austin Booker, 1. Daryl Taylor, 1. So we're getting everybody just a little bit involved. And in all honesty, I thought it was great to see Kirana Magaji's playing on special teams right now. So they're getting him used to gameplay and game speed. So I think we should be seeing him kind of popping up real soon in that offensive line. So shout out to everybody contributing for the big win. Montez Sweat with the big strip sack, which led to a turnover. Incredible moment for Montez Sweat. I told you guys I thought he would have 2 sacks. He ended up having 1 sack and a tackle for loss. So we were close. We were close. Also, these are the offensive stats for the game. Look, it was an interesting it was an interesting thing. We had Caleb Williams 17 to 23, DeAndre Swift 16 for 93, averaging 5.8 yards a rush. Roshan Johnson still performing well despite limited attempts here. 7 attempts, 26 yards, 3.7 yards per carry, but he also had a touchdown carry. And Caleb Williams was able to avoid and get down. And one of the things that people were, is he going to injure himself trying to get too many yards, trying to do too much? And look, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, Caleb Williams is learning the quarterback game fast. He is getting better exponentially. 5 carries for 12 yards. It doesn't stick out, doesn't jump from the page when you look at it, but the point to it was he also was sacked 3 times. Those are carries. So he did a really good job overall of making sure that he was getting after it, if you will. Also in receivings, DeAndre Swift had 7 receptions for 72 yards. Now look, this is not great, and I do want to illustrate that. Cole Kmet, let's point this out. This is really interesting. DeAndre Swift, 7 targets, 7 receptions. Cole Kmet, 3 targets, 3 receptions. DJ Moore, 3 targets. 6 targets, 3 receptions. Keenan Allen, 3 and 3, and Rome Odunze, 3 and 1 reception for 10 yards. Look, obviously, I think the passing game we need to get a little bit more out of, but we also need the rushing game a little bit more out of it. Would have liked to have seen a little bit more from each and every one of these, but look, we're splitting hairs. A victory is a victory. Also, despite that he was on my opponent team, shout out to Tutu Atwell, the receiver from the University of Louisville, 5'9", 165 pounds, 4 receptions for 82 yards, averaging 20 yards a reception, showing out even though I wanted him to take an L today. So defense, Jaquan Brisker, 12 tackles, 8 solo, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, 1 pass defended, and a quarterback hit. TJ Edwards, again, coming in like a rock, 9 tackles total, 1 tackle for loss. Kevin Byard, look, I think Kevin Byard missed a few plays where he had an opportunity, and I'm not dismissing. Look, we won, so let's be happy that we won. But I think Kevin Byers missed a couple of plays where, had he come through, this would have been a much better result for the Chicago Bears. I think he missed a couple of really big, important plays, or was out of position a couple times in things that would have mattered. Kyler Gordon have another bang up game. Jalen Johnson looked the part. He was shut down. It did not look like there were too many opportunities against Jalen Johnson. Tyreek Stevenson had a few mistakes, but generally speaking, a really good game. DeMarcus Walker, consistent. Montez Sweat, consistent. Tremaine Edmonds, consistent. Just on down the line, everybody doing a pretty good job. Now, we do have to talk about the number of penalties, but that'll be something for a different day. The offense is struggling with pre-snap penalties, and that's going to have to be addressed at some point soon. Now, the one thing that I do want to say is that, and look, in the flow of the game, maybe things don't work out your way or don't come your way or something like that. But I think we need a little more production from Jack Sanborn. 1 total tackle, but look, a win is a win. We made the plays that we needed to play to get that victory. But when I look at the stats, there are some things that are not exactly adding up too well. But one thing that did add up very well was Legatron himself, Tory Taylor, who averaged 57 yards, I want to say, on punts, had 6 punts, 57 yards, with one that went 66. And by the way, outdone by Ethan Evans by 1 yard towards the end of the game, where Ethan Evans ended up having a 67-yarder. But Tory Taylor was just money. Why did we draft him in the 4th round? For days like this. He took and he changed field position for the Chicago Bears, and he really made a lot of this look easy. And it's incredible. Pinned 3 times within the 20-yard line, or within the 10-yard line. The 20, yeah, 3 times within the 20 out of 5 punts, averaged 55.4 yards on punts. Like, this guy was incredible. Had 1 touchback. And by the way, that touchback was almost downed at around the 1 or 2 yard line. That would have been a tremendous moment. Just kicked a little bit too much. Just a tiny bit too much foot on it. And number 39, I think it was, that was the burner. I think he just kind of stepped into it and didn't get his foot. He didn't get out. Look, could have been an incredible play. Just didn't work out that way. Tory Taylor, absolutely, just looking the part. So now that that's covered, let's get into some of the wild stuff that happens here. Okay. Clay Harbor says Caleb Williams completed just 44% of his passes versus the blitz in the first 3 weeks of the season. Today on blitz, he was 8 of 9 for 75 yards and a touchdown versus the blitz. And by the way, it should be noted that while these blitzes were coming, that's where DeAndre Swift was so involved. That's where Cole Kmet was so involved in this game plan. And he was getting the ball out of his hands, and he was taking what was available to him. One of the things that I do want to point out, though, is there's obviously a problem with throwing down the field. I think there's a lot of plays, there's a lot of yards that have been left on the table here as he works on his accuracy down the field. And, obviously that's going to have to improve dramatically. But early on, he's starting to come together and look the part. And as he gets better and better and better and better, those throws, I think, will start to come together, and we will start to see a much better result on these passes downfield. Currently, not looking very good. Also, this is Caleb Williams' passer rating, if you're curious, over the last 4 weeks. The first game, 55.7. Week 2, 51.0. Week 3, 80.8. And then this week, 106.6. That's the type of progress that you're looking for out of your QB1, out of your rookie number 1 draft pick. What we think Caleb Williams is going to be is what he is becoming. Now, limitations on that so far are the offensive line. still clearly a work in progress, still clearly needs to continue to improve. I don't like it. There's a few things. First of all, Tevin Jenkins was unable to go, meaning Matt Pryor had to move over to left guard, meaning that Nate Davis was in at right guard. And Tevin Jenkins, we're not sure what the status is on him yet. We'll see how that comes together. But we've got some intriguing players that are still on that line ready to contribute in so much as we might be able to get them out there. Karan would be interesting to see Karan take on one of those roles. And maybe, remember, Darnell Wright, two penalties. We're not seeing the development from he was ranked the number 57 offensive tackle in the league. I mean, every team has two, so there's only 64. There's only 64 starting offensive tackles in the league, and he ranks 57th out of them right now. So Darnell Wright struggling. It would be interesting to see how this would evolve if Karan is ready to go. Maybe it doesn't matter. But it sure looks like it would be a good opportunity. And by the way, shout out to Doug Kramer for taking the fullback position for a play and allowing Roschon Johnson that very easy touchdown. Doug Kramer finally getting in some time, not at the center position, but he did get in some time. So Caleb Williams looking the part suddenly. And then from NFL 345, Caleb Williams becomes the first rookie quarterback selected number 1 overall in the NFL draft to win each of his first 2 career home starts in the common draft era. Caleb Williams is still undefeated at home. So shout out to Caleb Williams for being that guy. He's winning at home when it matters, defending the home turf. And look, there's a lot of things that we could be looking for, a lot of things that we want to see, a lot of things that we haven't seen yet. But it looks like one of the things that we are seeing is he's defending his home field. Also, Caleb Williams had a 124.5 passer rating when under pressure in week 4, which is the highest of all NFL quarterbacks. And speaking of all NFL quarterbacks, let's start to break some of this down. There's going to be a lot of deleted tweets when you see that throw to DJ Moore right there on a rope. Like, you could not fit that in any better, while at the same time, this is what's going on in other places. And now this is all that needs to be said right here. Caleb Williams now ranks 17th overall in quarterbacks, ahead of Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, Daniel Jones, Bo Nix, Derek Carr, Kyler Murray, Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield. They're not going to last. We're coming for that ass. But then, interestingly enough, I got to scroll way down here and look. Nothing really changes. Nothing really changes. Number 27 down here. So overall, was this a good move is the question. And we have to ask that question. Look, I know a lot of people want to move on, but we have to ask that question. We have to ask it all the time. Was this a good move? And look, I think that it was a good move. So they proved me wrong, or they are proving me wrong. So there you have it, guys. Swifties rejoice. Chicago Bears win 24-18 against the Los Angeles Rams. And look, I couldn't be happier with the result here, hoping that we're going to see a better result going forward. And 2-2 going into this next stretch of games. So we'll see how that plays. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Remember to bear down. F you, Green Bay. We are coming for you soon. And look, by the way, I say that, but really it should be the Minnesota Vikings that we're looking at trying to take down, isn't it? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll talk to you again very soon.